my cooking lab video of making glue for milk. So here I show my white vinegar and my whole milk, my tablespoon for measurements, and my half cup measurement that I'll be using for our whole milk, a saucepan, and then I have two options of my strainers. I wasn't sure at first which one I was going to use, but I ended up using the spoon held. So here I measure out my half cup of whole milk. And I pour it into a saucepan, and I've got that temperature rising currently. Here it is, and we see our milk that is steaming, and with this I'm going to go in and add a tablespoon of my white vinegar. This formation is going to help our milky solution begin to curdle, and we'll see this processing throughout. So here we are dumping that in, and I'm about to start up my 5-minute timer and let this settle. And here I show, we can already see some quick separation as soon as I poured in that distilled white vinegar into my whole milk solution. It begins to bubble, and just at 3 minutes, we already see the curdles forming around the saucepan. So here it is finished after the 5 minutes, and we can see tons of those white curdles. Here I am straining it with our wire mesh strainer, and I'm just getting our curdles separate and alone. And here I am, I'm gonna also feel and kind of get a texture feel of what my curdles feel like, in which when I touch them, they have this almost putty-like feel. I had none of this white milky solution left on my fingers after touching and messing around with it. Here I am messing with my spoon just to see if it's gonna dissolve once being put under some pressure, and it doesn't. It keeps that nice putty, clumpy solution. So this is our milk and white vinegar processed, and now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna also add in our tablespoon of water once I get done gathering around our curdles, just to kind of condense them all into one spot to see our end product of the white vinegar and milk. And there I am pressing it down, and you can see it does keep its shape and it's sticky. So here I am adding in my tablespoon of water, and I'm about to mix that. I kind of mixed it off the stove at first just because the stove was pretty hot, and I do simmer that heat down a little bit, but we can see that it's kind of clumping all together now. Instead of being multiple separate clumps, it's condensing into one big clump. So I'm stirring it now on some heat, and you can see it's beginning to liquefy, and we're losing some moisture in these clumps, and they're beginning to condense together. So I'm gonna add in our teaspoon of baking soda. And when we add in this teaspoon of baking soda, we see an immediate reaction in which there is foamy bubbles rising to the top. So I'm mixing this, and I'm mixing it pretty thoroughly until the bubbles begin to dissolve. I added in a bit more water because I think my solution had too much of the baking soda. So here I am mixing it, and you can see the bubbles. I mixed it on a little bit too hot, so I turned down my heat, and these are just observations made.